Hey ladies, this is how I help my client S lose weight in a week without having to do lots of dieting and follow an extreme exercise plan. Would you like to know how? Well, here's the thing. First of all, we all have goals around being more fit and healthy. And for most of us, what our society has taught us is that the way that you do it is to follow a set of rules. Now, over time, I'm in my mid-50s, the set of rules has changed dramatically, and it literally changes almost weekly. The mechanisms by which our culture is telling us how to lose weight is constantly changing, making it really, really hard. Plus, we have inside of us an identity around our ability to lose weight and what works or doesn't work for us. Add into that this belief that if we do act healthy or in alignment with our well-being, we have to sacrifice a lot of stuff, because when you follow rules, that means you're not in freedom. And when you're not in freedom, that means you have to give stuff up. So it makes perfect sense, doesn't it? While most of us will wake up on Monday morning determined to finally eat healthy, go to yoga, go to the gym 3 times a day, by Tuesday, we're out of it. So what did S do? There's 3 things that we did together really quickly that made a change and got her on the path to losing weight and moving her body in a way that she loves really, really quickly without having to diet or follow any rules. So number 1, you have to do this step. I want you to write down, this is what I had us do. We came up together with an actual list of all the rules and what I call the shoulds around her well-being. One of them was even that really early risers, early bird gets the worm. And the best thing to do is to get up at 5 o'clock. She heard on TikTok that the 5 o'clock a.m. club is the way that you actually start your day. And all that did was drain her energy. So that's just one example. So we came up with a list of all the rules and all the shoulds over the course of her lifetime, but what it takes to actually get her body, and this is important, to really just be a physical representation of her soul. Because that's really all that we want, right? We want our body to be a vehicle that we can express who we really are, and doing that in a way which feels really good and natural for us. So number 1, we got rid of the shoulds, or we made a list of the shoulds. Number 2, I talked about the big permission slip. And that was actually interesting, because when you think about all those rules that you have, actually letting go of those rules can be really, really scary. If we think I can have a cookie, right? We let ourselves have as many cookies as we want. The fear is if I let myself have cookies, I'll eat 1,000,000 cookies. I remember for myself in my own recovery from an eating disorder and struggling with exercise bulimia and compulsive overeating and dieting, I remember that moment where I was really stressed out. My kids were little, and I had this permission slip moment. What would it look like? Walk down the stairs, exhausted from my day, if I allowed myself to just have a cookie. And the feeling of freedom that came from that permission slip was kind of crazy. And what happened was I didn't want a bunch of cookies. I kind of just had one, and then I felt really, really good. And that's a really simple example. But what I want you to understand is the permission slip is to really go in and rewire and give yourself permission by looking at your nervous system and your neural pathways to start to shift those beliefs around what it is that actually feels good for you, so that you can start to do the third thing, which is to make conscious choices. Here's the thing. When it comes to being aligned so that our physical body, our muscles, our joints, our organs, our systems, and then of course what I call how much gravitational pull I have on the earth, which means my weight, to make that aligned with my essential self. If I don't have the identity as a chronic dieter, or someone who doesn't like to deprive herself, or someone who loves food, or a foodie, or someone who has a hard time losing weight, or whatever those things are, if I strip that away, I let go of all the roles, all the rules, the identity, and I'm just really connected to my essence, and I make conscious choices from that place. And this is the third thing, really important. How do I actually access that part of myself so that I am making those choices? Because the thing is, you can't just will yourself or force yourself. The minute you are forcing or willing or following the rules is the minute it all goes out the window, right? So we have to be able to tap into that part of us that is whole, right? That doesn't have that old identity. Tap into the identity of our present self, which is our essence, our pure soul, that part of us that is aligned, that is health, that is well-being. And then we listen. We listen to that part of us to help us make conscious choices around how we move, how we exercise, and how we choose to fill our body with food that is either nourishing or not, free from guilt and shame. So, in order to do this, it's what I call the whole self approach. And it's really this new era of how do we live a radical life in which the physical representation of ourself and what we're doing in our life is actually just a reflection of our essential self, the part of us that is our true self. So, you don't have to follow a bunch of rules to lose weight. You just need to follow these 3 things, right? Which is make a list of all the shoulds and the rules from your life around this topic. Number 2, give yourself a permission slip and start to rewire the neural pathways that are attached to the old way. And number 3, really start to tap into the essence of who you are around making all these choices, and then learn how to listen and act from that place. If you want more help on how you can start living your healthiest, best life at optimal performance in everything that you do, make sure you give us a follow, and of course, send us a DM if you'd like to know how I can help you do this in your life right now.